بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين لا قيام يوم الدين. السلام عليكم my beloved ones ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, we are going to take rule number 118 of Manasik al-Hajj, and we were discussing the النيابة في الحج. النيابة في الحج. Okay, so we have, yes. So here we have someone who's going to advance the agreement of hiring or delay it. How's that? For example, if I say, please go for Hajj on behalf of my father next year, he goes this year. So this is advancing it, okay, before its time. And then the other example is when he says that go this year, he goes next year. So this is delaying it. So basically advancing and delaying the Hajj. This is what our session is going to discuss. It's rule number 118. What happens if somebody you hire, he advances or delays the Hajj? So he says, إذا آجر نفسه للحج في سنة معينة. If someone hires himself to someone else, obviously someone hired him. So he hired himself. He accepted the agreement of being hired. So إذا آجر نفسه للحج في سنة معينة, a specific year, he has to go for Hajj. لم يجوز التأخير ولا التقديم. It would not be permissible to delay or to advance إلا مع رضا المستأجر, without the consent and the approval of the one who hired him. This is clear. So if there's approval, that's fine. If there's no approval, it is not fine. Okay? إلا مع رضا المستأجر. So let's take the scenario number 1, the delaying. He was supposed to perform the Hajj this year. He did not do. He went next year. ولو أخر كان للمستأجر خيار الفسخ. خيار, remember, means cucumber. But in fiqh, it means the option to null the contract. The option to null the contract. So if he delays, if he went next year and he did not receive his payment, for example, the wages, okay? So, or he received it, but he went when? Next year. So in this case, what will happen? That there will be option to null the sale. I mean, null the contract. Let me just put this on charge, because we don't want things to go wrong. Okay, hopefully things will go smooth. Sadly, for 118. Okay, so if he delays, instead of this year, he went next year. So the one who hired, the hirer, okay, will have the option to null the contract of hiring. How? How is that contract going to be nulled? He already went for he already went for Hajj next year. So the next year, the guy says, did you go Hajj last year? Remember, you're supposed to, you know something, brother, like that. I went this year. This year, okay, no, give me my money back. But I did the Hajj. No, give me my money back. I want my money back. But I did the Hajj. Okay. So if he breaks the contract, will the Hajj become invalid? He says, no. وَإِن بَرِئَتْ ذِمَّةُ الْمَنُوبِ عَنْهُ. The Hajj is something, the hiring contract is something. Okay. So the Hajj was performed. So the marhum or whomsoever the Hajj was going to be performed, he is relieved from his responsibility because the Hajj was performed. So we are not talking about the Hajj. If the Hajj was done with proper rulings and proper direction, correct Hajj, khalas, the responsibility of the mayyat or the living who cannot go for Hajj and because of sickness is relieved. That is the point of Hajj. So we are not talking about Hajj being relieved or not. We are talking about giving the money or not giving the money, or giving the said agreed wages, or giving ujratul mithil. That means the average rate, average rate of hiring someone for Hajj. That is the argument. Argument is not about the Hajj. كان للمستأجر خيار الفسخ. Okay, كان للمستأجر خيار الفسخ. So the hirer had the option to null the agreement. But he has done Hajj, yes, but I wanted last year. He went this year. فلو فسخ لم يستحق الأجير شيئا إذا كان التعيين على وجه التقييد. So if he nulls the contract, then there are two options. How are these two options? With regards to paying the wages. Should we not give him anything? Because there are three options. Should we not give him anything? Should we give him the average? Or should we give him the agreed upon wages? These are the three. Don't give him anything. No, give him something which is average. No, give him the said. So this is the thing, that if it is, of course, if the hirer approves, then he gets the complete. Remember the option C, A, B, C. So C is complete, agreed upon. B is average. C is nothing. Don't give him anything. So if he approves the hirer, okay, no problem. Khalas. The main thing is Hajj was done. You see, just whatever you have taken, halal. If he does not approve, then we have two options. Either give him nothing or give him average. That depends on what? Depends on the type of the hiring contract. This is important. This is not an easy point. I want you to focus with me. This is where the HAJJ and advanced fiqh class comes in. So if the hiring on that specific year was a condition, then we have a rule. And if it was not a condition, it was part and parcel, that I want the whole Hajj without any compromise. Hajj restricted totally without any condition. It did not say, I want you to do Hajj on a condition that it should be done next year or it should be done this year. That is condition. Here he said, no, I want the Hajj to be done entirely this specific year, and this year is part and parcel of the Hajj. Cannot be separated at all. That means inseparable agreement. But when there is condition, so condition is separated always from the contract. So if the condition is not fulfilled and the person implements the action without fulfilling the condition, he deserves ujratul mithil. That means average, not the said, Not the 15,000, no, 12,000 in our example. We said 12,000 is average rate of niyabat. But if someone sees someone special, specific guy, more irfani, more spiritual things, he would do the recommendation and this and that. So, okay, that's fine. I'll give you more. So this is agreed upon. Or he says, see, you know that, this and that. Just give me 15,000. But the rate is 12,000. But, you know, I mean, we are friends and this and that. Okay, khalas, 15. So there is agreed upon wages, and there is the average known wages or compensation or payment of hiring. So that's the thing. So now here, focus with me these two things. If it was conditional, let me see. I'm hiring you, but my condition is what? What's your condition? That if I'm going to pay you a full if you are going to perform the Hajj next year. So if he does this year, then should we give him Ujrat al-Mithil or not? That's the question. Or no, Hajj was a part and parcel. That means if you don't do Hajj this year, I don't want it at all. If you don't do the Hajj next year, I don't want it at all. Like what? Like this, obviously, I'm bringing the picture closer. There is a difference between the example I'm going to give you. La salata illa bi tahur. Okay? Like salat should not be performed without purification. So purification is not condition, it's part and parcel of the salat, integrated part. No purification, no salat. That purification I mean by wudu and ghusl, wudu, ghusl or tayammum. You don't do that, there's no salat. Okay? You don't do that, there is no salat. So that is the package, complete package. Like pillars of salat, rukun. You miss the rukun unintentionally, forgetfulness, no, khalas, kiss your salah goodbye. So this is when something is part and parcel of salat, you can, if you leave it unintentionally, unknowingly, kiss your salah goodbye. There's no excuse. Why? Because it is part of the ibadah. But the qibla is conditioned. If you do not accidentally pray in the direction of qibla, you were like a little bit here and there, or the time passed and after some time you realized I had prayed on the opposite side. So some maraja, they say no problem, because this is condition of salah. So condition is separate from salah. Yes, it is required for the salah to be correct, but if it was missed unintentionally, then salah will be correct because salah was offered. Qibla is something out of the salah. But wudu is part of the salat, part and parcel. Ruku' is part of the salat, essential part. So I hope you understand it, though these examples are not precise, but it gives you an idea what could be part and what could be condition and outside condition. So the hirer can make the specific year a condition. See, the Hajj, if you go, my condition is that you perform it this year or next year. So if I say this year, you delay next year, you violated the condition, but the action was done. If I said next year, you performed it this year, or vice versa, you violated the condition. So here normally Ujrat al-Mithil comes in. We'll give you something because it was done. But when it comes to the part and parcel Hajj, this year being part of the Hajj, I tell you, see, for me, it is very crucial that the Hajj is done this year or the Hajj is done next year. It's very crucial. It's part of our agreement. You don't do it, you don't get anything. So there's a limitation for Hajj, restriction, not a condition, restriction. That means part and parcel of the Hajj. I can decide in certain things that whether I keep my condition as a condition or might keep the desired thing or require as part and parcel of the whole required act. So that's why Sayyidi Sistani says here, Damadullah, فَلَوْ فَسَخَ. So the hirer had the option to null or the option to carry on. So if he carries on and he says, okay, no problem, the Hajj was done, fine. So the guy will have his complete wages or complete compensation, promised compensation, agreed upon compensation. إلا مع رضا المستأجر ولو أخر. If he delays كان للمستأجر خيار الفسخ. Okay, he can null. So if he nulls the hiring agreement, then we have two options. Okay, فلو فسخ, the option we are talking about, the option of part and parcel. Okay, not inseparable. This year is part of the Hajj I wanted to be done. Inseparable part. لم يستحق الأجير شيئا. The one who was hired, he would not deserve any compensation. No إجرة المثل, no nothing. إذا كان التعيين على وجه التقييد. If the hiring contract, okay, designation, or if the hiring contract was based on this Hajj, this year being restriction of the Hajj. That means Hajj being restricted to perform in this year. No compromise in that. So this is number one segment. The Hajj was very much restricted and limited, and the year was part and parcel of the Niyaba Hajj. He says if he chooses to null the contract, the hirer, khalas, nothing. More than that, he can ask him, now you'll make me hire someone else, okay? And now the rates are high, so you are going to pay me the difference also, for example. So whatever losses the hirer will incur for hiring someone else, that person will bear the losses. Okay, now let's see. وإن كان على وجه الشرطية استحق أجرة المثل. So if it was a conditional Hajj, I am hiring you on a condition that you go this year, and he performed the Hajj. Previous scenario, part and parcel, he performed the Hajj. I don't want your Hajj, okay? Because the Hajj, the hiring contract was that this year is part and parcel. It's an essential part of the contract that I needed this year. Here, no. I want to hire you on a condition that I want to hire you to do Hajj on behalf of my marhum. Okay, that's a contract. But do you have any condition? Yes. My condition is you do it this year or you do it next year. And that was violated. So here he says, وَإِنْ كَانَ عَلَى وَجْهِ الشَّرْطِيَّةِ, and if it was the contract was based on was conditional, استحق أجرة المثل, then he will deserve something. The one who violated and performed the Hajj this year, and he was supposed to perform next year, or next year he was supposed to perform this year. In both cases, he will deserve Ujrat al-Mithil. Okay, he will deserve average. And this sentence, we have already said it in the beginning. If he approves, وَلَوْ لَمْ يَفْسَخ, so if the hirer does not null the contract, okay, or break the contract, استحق الأجير تمام الأجرة المسمى. Then if you approve the Hajj, which was not performed in that specific year or specific time which you mentioned, then if you approve it, then you have to give him the entire agreed upon wages. Okay, now So now we understood that if he approves the delay or the advancement, then he gets the one who was hired gets the entire wages. That is number one. Number two, if he does not approve and he wants to null the contract, so if it was based on part and parcel, based on the inseparable, the time, the year was inseparable part of the Hajj, then doesn't get anything. Okay, so if he had taken in advance money, give me back my money. He has to give. If he doesn't, then a case can be filed against that person. What about if it was a conditional contract? We said if it was a conditional contract to be done this year or the next year, and it was violated, then the condition was violated here. In this case, since he's performed the Hajj, we will give him Ujratul Mithil, the average rate or compensation which is known. Yes. وَكَانَ لِلْمُسْتَأْجِرِ, and the hirer has the right to demand the amount which was lost because of the time. Lost means that if he's going to hire someone else, okay, in the case where the whole thing is gone, okay, like part and parcel. So the whole thing is gone. So he might need to hire someone else. The Hajj is okay, but for him, he's not happy. He wants to send someone else because, or he did next year. You're supposed to do this year. So you made me miss the time. So you need to give me money for causing the time to be missed. It was supposed to be this year. So that's why he says, وَكَانَ لِلْمُسْتَأْجِرِ, and the hirer had the right to demand مُطَالَبَةُ بِقِيمَةِ مَا فَوَّتُ, demand the price or the money or the compensation of whatever time, specific time was missed. This year was missed, or that year was missed because he did it 1 year early. So you cause me certain losses. For example, it doesn't specify here in the ruling what type of losses, but anyhow, whenever somebody's time is lost, okay, and the purpose for performing in specific time and specific year, then you can ask him, and it was violated, then you can demand the compensation of the whatever time it was wasted just because of this person not sticking to the time. Okay. ما فوته عليه من الزمان المعين. Okay. إذا كان التعيين على وجه التقييد. Remember, we said that two types: conditional or no, inseparable. The time is inseparable part of the Hajj. So in this case, what will happen? ولو قدم الأجير فإن كان العمل المستأجر عليه من قبيل حجة الإسلام، حيث تفرغ ذمة المنوب عنه بما أتى به مسبقا، ولا يمكن استيفاء العمل عليه على وقت المعين، كان حكم ما تقدم من التأخير. Okay, so here we have two types of Hajj: Hajjat al-Islam or Mustahab Hajj. In Hajjat al-Islam, the Hajj was done. You cannot do once again Hajj. So in this case, the person has the right to demand the amount which was the time which was the time compensation. So we said that the time compensation was missed. The hirer can demand the one from the one who's hired. So he says that for this case, for the one where the Hajj is part and parcel, the specific time is part and parcel of the Hajj. Yes. إذا كان التعيين على وجه التقييد. so he can demand the money because you messed up some time. And now, yes, ولو أخر كان للمستأجر, he delayed the Hajj, كان للمستأجر خيار الفسخ وإن برئت ذمة المنوب عنه. So he can, I mean, he deserves the Ujrat al-Mithil if it was based on conditional. We said. Why I'm repeating? Because in the next masala, I said whatever was said before. So I'm reminding you whatever was said before. So we had three scenarios: deserves full, that means owner, I mean the higher approved. Deserve ujrat al-mithil if it was conditional. Does not deserve anything if it was part and parcel. In this case of part and parcel, he has the right to demand the loss of time, okay? The loss of time which was incurred because of his delay. Because of his delay. So this is all about akhara, talking about delay. Now, let's see this ruling. وَلَوْ قَدَّمَ الْأَجِيرُ. So this is opposite. That one was to do this year and he delayed. So there is a loss of time. You delayed, I mean, you delayed 1 full year. So we demand you compensation of that loss of time. Now we are going to talk. So don't get mixed up. Okay, that was done. That was delay. Now this is advancing. The Hajj was supposed to be done next year. I want it to be done next year. Why did you do it this year? You're not supposed to do this year. Okay, calm down. Tell me, what should I do? No problem. So let's see. So we have two scenarios. Remember, part and parcel or no, conditional Hajj. So فإن كان العمل المستأجر عليه من قبيل حجة الإسلام عن الميت حيث تفرغ ذمة المنوب عنه بما أتى به مسبقا. If it was Hajjat al-Islam, the first Hajj, the obligatory Hajj on behalf of a deceased, in a way that when somebody performs this, the one on whose behalf the Hajj was performed, his liability or his responsibility becomes relieved from the responsibility of the Hajj. Okay. حجة الإسلام عن الميت حيث تفرغ ذمة المنوب عنه بما أتى به مسبقا. So the Hajj has been relieved. Why? Because Hajjat al-Islam does not repeat. Wajib Hajj does not repeat, and the guy did it. Though he violated the time, okay, he did it this year and he was supposed to do it next year. Perhaps, for example, he thought that he was given the Hajj for next year. Next year, let's say the Hajj wages were 18,000 or the cost of Hajj was 12,000. This year, 10,000, the original cost of Hajj, not the money, extra money we give to the one who's hired. Okay. So he said that, okay, let me do it this year. I'll be saying $2,000. Okay. That I can use it in my pocket. Any other reason, the Hajj was advanced. And what type of Hajj this was? It was Hajjat al-Islam. So Hajjat al-Islam, once it's done, it's done. You don't repeat Hajjat al-Islam. It's once in a lifetime. So that's why he said, إذا كان عمل المستأجر عليه العمل المستأجر عليه من قبيل حجة الإسلام عن الميت. It was if the one which was performed ahead of its time, like instead of next year, this performed this time, and if it was something like Hajjat al-Islam, which is a type of worship or type of obligation that a person is relieved if it was performed earlier. You need to perform one Hajj. You performed it this year. So khalas, your responsibility, your liability is gone. Your responsibility is relieved from the Hajj. ولا يمكن استيفاء العمل المستأجر عليه على وقت معين. And it is not possible to perform after it was performed at advance. You cannot perform Hajjat al-Islam next year. It does not repeat. It's once in a lifetime. And it was performed. Okay, it was performed. So in this case, there is no Hajjat al-Islam left so that the guy would do next year. So ولا يمكن استيفاء العمل المستأجر عليه في وقت معين. And the deed which is required in the hiring contract in a specific time cannot be accomplished because it's once in a lifetime and it's already done. So كان حكمه حكم ما تقدم في التأخير. The ruling here would be the ruling which was mentioned previously. What was mentioned previously? If approval, give him entire amount. If disapproval, there are two types. If it is part and parcel, don't give him anything. If it is conditional Hajj to be performed in specific time, then give him the average rate. So that's why I had to repeat to remind you that Sayyid says that he's alluding. So كان حكمه حكم ما تقدم في التأخير. So the ruling will be exactly as it was mentioned in the ruling of delaying the obligation. Here, the obligation was advanced. It was performed earlier, 1 year earlier. وإلا كما إذا آجروا على الحج المندوب. So we have what? Two times. When we advanced, we have two types. One type is we cannot repeat it next year, like Hajjat al-Islam. And the other, we can repeat it like Hajj al-Mandub عن نفسه في العام المقبل. وإلا كما إذا أجره على الحج المندوب عن نفسه. He said, please go and perform recommended Hajj on my behalf next year. And he had a purpose. He was finishing his degree, for example. So he wanted to do something to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So إذا آجره على الحج آجره على الحج عن نفسه في العام المقبل فأتى به في العام الحالي. Okay, he performed it what? He performed it this year. Okay, so he was supposed to perform the recommended Hajj next year with me. He performed it this year. And this is not from something which is non-repeatable, like Hajjat al-Islam. This can be repeated. Okay? This can be repeated. So, how can it be repeated? Because it's mustahab Hajj. It is this year, you do next year, you do a year after, as long as you have done the wajib Hajj. So, it's not like wajib Hajj. So he says, if on the other hand, وإلا كما إذا آجره على الحج المندوب عن نفسه في العام المقبل فأتى به في العام الحالي. So if this person was going to perform something which can be repeatable, okay, a repeatable act, which is a repeatable act, and like mustahab Hajj, if he performed it this year rather than next year, what will happen? Again, the two parts come. فإن كان التعيين على وجه التقييد لم يستحق الأجير على ما أتى بشيئا وجب عليه الإتيان بالعمل المستأجر عليه في وقت المعين. So this is clear. If it was part and parcel of the package, the whole thing, that do it next year, and he did it this year, so he will have to redo the Hajj. Why redo? You said the Hajj is not repeated. Yes, I said the Hajjat al-Islam is not repeated. But any other act can be repeated. Any other Hajj can be repeated. So he says that if that was the case, that the appointing of the year was inseparable part of the Hajj. لم يستحق الأجير على ما أتى به شيئا. He will be given nothing Why? Because the year was specifically a package of the Hajj, inseparable part of the Hajj made by the hirer. ووجب عليه الاتيان بالعمل المستأجر عليه في وقت معين, and it will become obligatory upon him to perform the action, hired upon action, in its specific time. Okay, and this is inclusive ruling. That's why I say this is done. It could include fasting, it could include any other worships which are done by hiring. So here we are talking about Hajj Mustahab. وجب عليه بالعمل وجب عليه الاتيان بالعمل المستأجر عليه في وقت معين. So if it was next year or after 5 years, you have to wait for 5 years until to fulfill the rent, fulfill the hired action and relieve your responsibility. Yes. أتى به على ووجب عليه الاتيان بالعمل المستأجر عليه في وقت معين. Okay, this is number one scenario. If it was inseparable part, the time was inseparable part of Hajj. وكذا إذا كان التعيين على وجه الشرطية. Similarly, if the appointment or hiring that person was done based on the concept of conditional, or based on condition that, okay, please go for me, do Hajj, but I have a condition. Do it this year or that year, next year. We are talking about the advancement. Okay. So if he says, if it was conditional, ولم يلغي المستأجر شرطه, and the hirer did not remove his condition and he was still with the condition, he was stick with the condition, with his condition, ولم يلغي المستأجر شرطه, وكذا إذا كان على وجه وكذا إذا كان على التعيين. Similarly, the year was appointed based on conditional contract, then that means he doesn't deserve, he has to repeat the Hajj next year. على لم يلغي المستأجر شرطه, and the condition was still valid, that he has to repeat because he did not fulfill the condition. وإن ألغاه, here's the point. He said, خلاص, I am dropping down my condition. I don't have any condition. استحق تمام الأجرة المسمى. He would deserve the entire compensation, agreed upon compensation. So the last one was what? Conditional or part, inseparable part. So in the case of inseparable part, nothing for you, and repeat it next year. In the case of separable condition, he says that we will give you the wages. Okay. وكذا إذا كان على وجه التعيين ولم يلغي المستأجر شرطه. So the condition was still there, so you have to perform the Hajj in a specific time because still the condition is on hold. Okay. وإن ألغاه استحق تمام الأجرة المسمى. And if the condition is removed, then he would deserve the entire said or agreed upon wages or compensation. Inshallah, tomorrow we will continue ruling number 119. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين.